spending some time together. So as Art said, my name is Rory. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at DCX, one of the co-owners of the company, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Kevin, and we're going to be talking about a very specific topic. But before I kind of get started with that, I thought I'd take a few minutes just to give a little bit of recap on who DCX is and what our purpose is on this call. So DCX is the premier overseas hiring agency specifically for the roofing industry. So we're helping roofing contractors and other companies in this space hire, train, and integrate remote employees and teams. And our job is to work with growing companies in the US, help them find amazing, talented people that just so happen to live in the Philippines, and use this as a way to scale and grow their businesses. And we're specifically doing this now, of course, in the roofing space. So we've been in business for a little over 5 years now. We've been very lucky to be growing pretty quickly ourselves. So this year we were named the 250th fastest growing company in all the US on the Inc. 5000 list. And we currently have about 2,600 full-time employees that work with us in the Philippines. So we've learned a lot in the last few years about the topic of hiring and training and integrating. And I think we could bring a lot to this conversation. So with that setting the table, I wanted to pass it over to Kevin to start talking about this particular topic. Kevin.
Awesome. Appreciate it. What we're going to cover today. So storm restoration work can be a profitable part of any roofing company. In fact, 30% of the roofers in the United States include storm restoration work in their portfolio. A lot of companies, though, shy away from it. And there's a couple reasons why. It takes a different skill set, different tools in your toolbox in order to make storm restoration work. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's different. We're going to help people understand how to work Xactimate to your benefit and why Xactimate can really affect your profit margins. We're going to talk a bit about how you manage insurance claims adjusters and how you get homeowners to work with their homeowners insurance companies. How do we make sure that you guys get paid for the work that you do? Especially if it's not something that's talked about up front, if it's something's happened after the fact. And then we're going to talk about how DCX has partnered with Estimate Mastery, one of the leaders in the space, one of the leading coaching companies in the space, to arm our people, who in turn will arm you in your office to be effective in this in this part of your business that can be really, really profitable. So that's really what it's about. We want to make sure that you guys are making money, that homeowners are having a good experience. And there's three things that really can seem small, but they can be big misses and leave a lot of money on the table. The first is documentation. And again, these are all really administrative things, but really make a difference. So documentation matters. We need to make sure that you're being complete, accurate, thorough, and knowledgeable in what it is that you do. We need templates. You need to make sure you've got templates as part of your inspection. Templates as part of your everyday work. They're taking a lot of photographs, and that you're using that information to communicate with the claims adjuster and with the insurance company to get the work done that you need. And it's something that's small, and it can get missed. So not only do you need the documentation, but you need people to help make sure that happens right. There has to be somebody managing that process. And we've got to make sure that we're doing this quickly. Speed matters. One of my favorite TV shows, Modern Family, talks about, Phil Dunphy, he says, smooth is fast, right? And so we want to make sure that you guys can work smoothly, quickly, accurately to get done what needs to get done. If your insurance claims adjuster sees that you're being assertive and that you're being communicative and that you're moving quickly, they're going to want to work with you. If your homeowners can get their restoration work repaired and done in weeks instead of months, they're going to refer you to your friends. And really, storm restoration work tends to take longer than a regular retail job anyway. And that could be another reason why a lot of roofers will avoid storm restoration work. But we can get this done quickly. You guys can get this done quickly if you're accurate, and your documentation is in line and you're communicative. So these are big items. They seem small, but they can be really big items. And at the end of the day, these are the kind of things that a lot of roofers miss, and they will, because they miss it. A lot of companies shy away from this. I remember I had at one point, I lived in Texas, and there was a storm came through, a lot of hail. Our roof needed to get replaced, and our experience with our roofing company was not great. It took them a long time to get the work in, to get the work done. And then when the work was completed, I got a check from my insurance company. And I sat on that check for like 3 months before I finally called the roofer and said, "Are you going to come and get this check?" It was like $40,000. And so because of all these little administrative tasks, a lot of roofers will often farm this bit of their business out to supplementing company, third-party supplementing companies, which seems like it can be a great deal. But working with third-party supplementing companies can come with its own challenges that Rory's going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that a lot of people on this call that are kind of hearing what Kevin's talking about and it's resonating with them, maybe they've engaged in working with third-party companies like this, and a lot of times it can work really well for your business. We don't want to say it doesn't, but as you start to take on more of these projects, I think there starts to be a couple of challenges that come into play when working with companies like this. The first is cost, right? These third-party companies are charging a percentage of the gains negotiated with the adjusters, and if you work on one project like this a month, maybe those fees are pretty minimal, right? You work on a handful, they start to grow, but as your business grows, and I know so many people on this call are looking to really scale up their businesses this year and in the future, those numbers can really start to stack up, right? We've seen a lot of companies that only work with third parties start to pay fees above $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month or more. That's money now that really you could be keeping towards your revenue and your bottom line. It can make a huge difference in how profitable you are year over year. The second thing is time, right? Like once we get into the storm season where these projects start to pop up more and more, this is your time to sell, and you gotta try to move things along efficiently so that you can collect this money and really capitalize on these moments, right? So any kind of inefficiencies that would happen while working with a third party can really start to slow you down, right? These companies are working with other contractors at the same time. The projects are, I'm sure, in some sort of queue. They're prioritized based on size and different things. You might find yourself stuck in a situation where you just can't move things along, like Kevin just described in his example. So those two things kind of couple together to really have situations pop up where you might be shouldering a little bit of a cash flow issue, right? You might be the ones that are fronting money for building, for invoices and materials and handling your own payroll. That can really start to hold you up and cause a little bit of a cash flow issue.
Yeah, this next slide, I love this next slide. I come from the construction world. My family owned HVAC businesses. I was a gopher, then ran my own crews, then went into sales and sales management, and then at some point I became a partner in a company. And running a business is way different than putting a roof on a house. And I think a lot of roofers, and maybe some on this call even, have a lot of experience in roofing, but they don't always have a lot of experience in the office work, the administration, the paperwork, the computer work, the documentation, and then even some of the working with claims adjusters, insurance companies. And so I love how this represents a lot of roofers, particularly in the storm industry, how frustrating it can be trying to get paid for the work that that you've done. You've done it well. And how do you just get the other people to play ball? DCX is in a position when we started this company, we realized that one of the things we really wanted to do was help small roofers grow and scale. And one of the best ways to do that is to provide strong office workers who can take off of your plates, take that hat off of your head, and allow you to focus on what you do best. And when we talk about storm insurance and supplementing, this is one area where we really can help. So how can DCX help, right? So one, we need good people in your office. We need them at a discount, and we need them long-term. We need them to have longevity and to stick around. And DCX hangs their hat on providing skilled, talented workers who are happy and turn it into a career. 80% of the time or more, the people that we place with our roofing companies and other companies are there for longer than a year, and 60% of them have been there for longer than 3 years. So once we find the right person working insurance and supplementing claims for you, they grow with you, they understand your processes, and they can get these paid for and done quickly. The other thing, and this is something that Rory's going to talk about on the next slide, we've partnered with some of the best people in the industry to provide training, content, coaches, forums that will help you and your team members get questions answered and get estimates paid.
Yeah, let's dive in a little bit more with sort of what this looks like, the actual training that we provide. So Kevin just kind of ran through all of that. I mentioned earlier that hiring, training, integrating kind of like the core components of how this whole process works. And I would say that training probably rises to the top as the most important piece of what we do, right? I think we always feel confident finding incredibly talented people who can learn an industry and could be flexible and be able to help you in lots of different facets of your business. But we do need someone that understands your business, right? It understands the industry before they start working with you in order for this to go smoother, to get somebody providing value faster, and for the long-term success to be there. So from day one of working with the roofing industry, we've created what we call the DCX Roofing Academy. This is a 1-month program that we put all of our potential employees through. Every month we're hiring 15, 20 different people or more. We put them through this training program, and we teach them the anatomy of the sales cycle, the supply chain inside of the roofing industry, the nomenclature, right? All of the terms that a lot of people on the call have learned over years and years of experience. We want to catch somebody up on the basics so that they can step into any position that one of our partners might need inside of their business. With this obviously now starting to be a big part, and this role being something that I think a lot of contractors need help with, we've taken it up a notch by now including an additional 2 weeks training with the help of Estimate Mastery. So after we work with our partners and identify a candidate that they really love, we will then put this person through an additional 2 weeks of training. They're going to learn more very specifics about estimating and supplementing. They will be covering Xactimate and a lot of other core functions, and they'll walk away with certifications that really, really make sure that they understand this role and are even better prepared to jump in and help you. And then even better than that, after we move to the third step, someone's going to start on the job. They're going to start working on these projects together with you. They're going to be learning things and getting different reps, and they're going to have ongoing support from Estimate Mastery in case something pops up that's out of the ordinary. So this is lots of different training materials they can go back and reference. They can reach out to different support and really get coached along the way if they need any potential help.
Yeah, these people, Alina Wilson and Todd Wilson and Estimate Mastery, I don't know if any of you on this call have heard about their program or what it is that they offer, but they provide templates and training and resources and processes and all the tools that we've been talking about on this call, so that contractors can be successful in building estimates and getting paid. What DCX has done with our economy of scale is that we've brought that cost down to almost zero. And so for essentially the cost of a full-time employee, you're getting this full-time employee who has access to Estimate Mastery and is trained with continuing access to their forums and their coaches. And so really what that means for roofers is we're solving problems that some of the largest roofing companies have tackled and have locked down. You guys, roofers who take us on, will have the office, the back office, the administration, the logistics, the templates, the inspection reports, the standard operating procedures, everything that an adjuster is going to want and need in order to get roofers paid and paid quickly, and then allowing roofers to stay in control. So from a save money standpoint, again, if you're doing one storm restoration job a month, 2 restoration jobs a month, it may not make sense to bring on somebody full-time. But when you're doing 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 The cost of bringing someone in-house is going to be significantly less than the cost of farming that out to a supplementing company. And then having the control of being able to say, hey, I want this job focused on first. Let's get this done and build. Or if we have a squeaky wheel with a customer, we can get them taken care of. Again, as a business owner, you get to stay in control. Yes, DCX is the employer of record. They will be on our books. We will pay their benefits, all the taxes, all the liability. But for all intents and purposes, these team members are going to work for you, completing the tasks that you need done. And if you need them to pivot from working on a file to answering the phone or whatever else that you need them to do, that's totally within you as a business owner's ability to control. It really is awesome. It's something that has helped roofers and will continue to help roofers, and hopefully something that's interesting to you guys. I wanted to close with just a promotion that DCX is running through the month of November. We're just at the start of storm season. There have been some storms through Indiana and along the east, and obviously always in Texas. There have been some, but there's going to be more. We're just at the start of the storm restoration season. Contractors that bring on a full-time employee through DCX in the month of April, we are sending them a Traeger Woodridge Pro. If you would like to scan that QR code, you can learn a little bit more about the promotion. You can learn about DCX. You can set up a time to have a conversation with me or somebody on the team about what it is that DCX does, and see if it makes sense to partner together. This last slide is just phone numbers and email addresses for myself and for Rory. If you'd like to reach out by email to one of us, please feel free. Otherwise, let's get into questions. Art?
We've got a few questions that came in throughout the program, so let's jump right in. And very cool promotion, by the way. Let's for a roofing company that's never used offshore staff before, you talked a little bit about the training process and what you offer, but what does it look like specifically for that supplementing or that insurance specialist?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have a really robust learning and development team and program. They've taken Estimate Mastery has their own training, their own curriculum. We use almost all of their content, but we've added our own courses, our own training and classroom study, just something tailored to the Philippines. They exit the course certified Xactimate Level 1, but there's a lot of coursework, a lot of classroom work. There's a lot of case studies and a lot of practical work. So they go through a lot of templates, commonly missed items. They understand how to look at the templates and apply the templates to make sure that we're hitting all of the line items that are necessary. They run through scenarios in their classwork on what do they do if an adjuster says no. How do they coach homeowners as they work with their insurance companies? How do they communicate with homeowners? How do they communicate with adjusters? What do they do if an adjuster is not being super responsive? So apart from the Xactimate training, which again they exit certified to work Xactimate, they also learn just how to be a squeaky wheel, how to be thorough, how to be complete, how to make sure that crews are taking pictures, that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, and we all know, the insurance companies have had it rough the last few years. They tend to kind of move the goalposts on folks. One of our attendees has read that some states are looking to create laws to control supplemental companies. How would this impact your model?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the strictest sense, we are not a supplementing company. You are not giving us these files for us to work. We're not taking a percentage of the added supplementing. So I've kind of shied away from the term supplementing as we talk about it. We want to be insurance and storm trainers and help you hire good trained insurance and storm people. So we are the employer of record, but these are your employees. And so we're not strictly a supplementing company. Technically we're a business process outsourcing company. So, we help you find people. We stay the employer of record, but they're your employees. So you as roofers are bringing the storm work in-house. You're no longer going to be using a supplementing company.
Okay, and I was going to ask a follow-up if there's, have you worked with contractors that thought they might do this in-house, perhaps have their own supplemental insurance person, and what's the barrier? How difficult is that for them to try and do it as opposed to what you do?
No, that a lot of roofers, they can find people who have claims experience and who have experience building estimates and dealing with storm restoration, work and Xactimate. A lot of roofers bring those kind of people on. Where DCX differs from that is our price points. We can be much, much less expensive than a domestic hire. And then on the flip side, our retention rates are 80% plus. So one of the things that I think happens when you bring those kind of people in office domestically is they'll work for you for a month or a couple months, and then somebody lures them away with an extra $2 or $3 or $5 an hour, or a company truck, or something that happens that lures good people away. Whereas with DCX, we help you find amazing people, and for these Filipino people, this is a career. They are happy and they're productive. And the way that DCX structures what we do, we give them bonuses and incentives, and they make a career out of it. So obviously bringing it in-house, and oftentimes what it is there's a combination of some domestic hires and some hires from the Philippines. But I know several roofers who have staffed their entire insurance team around us.
All right, and you kind of addressed this, but your field specialists, they handle these supplements, ready to go day.
Yeah, they're now depending. We have a talent reserve, so a lot of our people are, you can tell us, we can sign a contract within a couple of days. You can interview a couple people, and they'll be ready to go. We also look outside our talent reserve for people who are a great fit but haven't gone through our academy. So sometimes there may be some training that we give them before they start with you, but oftentimes they're ready to start day one. They're not going to know everything day one, but that's why they have this subscription, this access to Estimate Mastery, and there will be some on-the-job learning and training, but the learning curve is very, very sharp. They pick it up very, very quickly, and before weeks are done, they're very proficient. Rory, is there anything you want to add on that one?
Got it. So, okay. All right. So you hit on the training that you put them through, and then the extended training. You touched on communicating with insurance companies. Beyond the training, that can be pretty nuanced. Can you talk about the success you've had there and what you've learned about that? In the last few years, you've been successful.
Yeah, the things that I've learned working with insurance companies and working at DCX is oftentimes it's being persistent. I think is one of the biggest things. Having your evidence in hand, having your documentation in order, being persistent, and then having a plan for if a claims adjuster or insurance company is being a little less than responsive. But that's one of the areas where DCX and our people from the Philippines really shine. Is they do not shy away from their work. They do not shy away from tasks, and they will get it done. They're super polite, but they're very assertive and very diligent. So that's the things that I have found have been successful to get claims played and claims adjusters moving.
Okay, and if there are any concerns that contractors have, or have you heard of the objection? I guess maybe not a concern. Is there an iTool that they should be looking at? Have you heard that?
You cut out. What tool?
Excuse me. So some an AI tool
Oh,
that might be able, they might be.
yeah, AI has you're blinking a little bit, but you're talking about AI. AI has a place, and there are several companies that can that use AI. In fact, we're in talks right now with a company to arm our people with AI tools for the initial creation of these exactimate estimates. At the end of the day, AI needs to be a tool in the hands of capable people who can get things across the finish line, right? And so, AI has a place, but AI is not going to right now pick up the phone and call a claims adjuster and be pesky. And even if it could, you would need somebody to tell it what to do, right? So, the right place for AI, and there is one, is a tool in the hands of the right person who will still get the work across the finish line.
Got it. Okay, well, thank you both. That's all the time we have for questions today. I hope you'd all join me once again in thanking Rory and Kevin for this great conversation and the presentation, as well as our sponsor, DCX. If you have any additional questions, please email webinars@bnpmedia.com. We're happy to help. When you exit this webinar, you'll be taken to a brief post-event survey. We'd really appreciate you taking a moment to